Hey everybody, this is my probably the last video I'm going to make on this. It's an HP MS200 227. I've made a couple of videos on this online already, cleaning the fans and saying I couldn't get to the big fan that was underneath. We're going to do that today. And also I'm going to show you how to take out the motherboard, and then people have been asking me about the graphic card. So the first thing we got to do, we don't need to take out the hard drive, we don't need to have to take out the RAM, but we have to take these screws out, including the screw down there for the Cd-Rom drive. We do need to remove the Cd-Rom drive. Alright, we're going to, something to have, a nice useful tool is these mechanical fingers. Alright, so you can grab things like that and set it aside. Alright, so down on the bottom there is a really long screw. There we go. That's that screw that was a pain to do. Alright, we're going to stick a screwdriver down there. A little silver thing down there, way down under there. We're going to push that way. We're going to go that way with it. And out comes this CD-ROM drive. I covered that one time before, but just in case, we're going to pull this thing out, set it aside. We need to do that because you can't have the CD-ROM drive in to remove this back case. We're taking this whole back case off. We're going to slide the cover off. We're not removing the tray for the hard drive. We got to come over here and remove the screw in the cover to the memory. I don't have any memory in here either. Like I might have stated, the motherboard is bad. It works and everything. It just burns up, believe it or not, hard drives. 5 hard drives in 2 months. That's ridiculous. Alright, so that's off. That's only because we need to get in there and do some things. Another thing that has to come off is this guy. Alright, there's a tray underneath, and I just reviewed one of my videos, and this is in there too. We don't really care a whole lot about this, but so I do care actually. You're going to stick a screwdriver underneath that tab and stuff. Alright, when you go to put this back in, you have to go in the keyway underneath. Okay, it's kind of hard to see. Even if maybe I get the light down in there, you might be able to see. There's a keyway, and we'll cover this on the reinstallation. Okay, so there's 3 screws there. When you push this thing down, you got the 3 screws right there. So we're going to unscrew those. Now you're going to pull this towards you and up. That's because there's channels in there. And it's something I covered before, but there's a channel in there that you have to go through to put this thing back on. We'll cover it again when we go put this together. Alright, for the rest of this, I'm going to have to actually put this on a tripod because it's going to be a little violent, it's going to seem like, but we got to rip this whole back off of the LCD screen. So here we go. Alright, I've done a few trial runs, so I'm really hoping this is inside the screen. I turned it upside down to where the HP is upside down here. The area where the stand was is right here, the hard drive's over here. We're going to push in and pull out. Okay, so until we hear one click, and there it is. So over on this side, you're going to put your finger in and start pulling this part that way and this part this way. Imagine having to do this every time you have to clean the fans. Or, better yet, change the BIOS battery, reset the password, or anything like that. So the back's off. Set that up here. Look how dirty that fan is. This is the fan that I stated in another video that I didn't know how to get to. Even though I blew out the fans down on the bottom and all, I didn't get this fan, and look how really dirty that thing is. That's just crazy. Alright, time to get down and dirty on this. Now remember, what you're going to do, your all-in-one, is you're going to take a air compressor can or an air compressor out in the garage. You're going to clean this fan out. You're going to get all the dust off the back of this. When we take this off, you're going to see more dust all around. You're also going to take the back and clean all this out too. Alright, this is a damaged, this computer has a damaged motherboard, so I'm not even worried about this. I'm probably going to be selling this fan on eBay. The CD-ROM drive, everything that has to do with this. I know somebody wants the LCD screen too. I'm trying to lock my chair in this spot. Hold on one sec. There we go. All right. There's screws all around, 3 pieces of tape just holding this thing in. So I took most of the screws out already, but just look around, and what you have is there's a screw down there. There's a screw right here. Now I call these upper and level screws. Now that's the upper screw, that's a lower screw. This screw, these are numbered. This is number 3, number 4, number 5 is over there, and it works its way around. Okay, this is the one to take the whole back, the sheet metal off the back of the actual LCD screen. So you don't want to mess with those screws if this is a good working computer. All right, the upper screws, which is one there, and if you work your way around, there's one there. There's a couple on the other side, and there's actually a keyway. That's right here. Okay, I want to get the light over as much as possible to see that and clamp. Okay, right there is a keyway. When you put this thing back on, you'll notice that I'm going to line it up with the keyway. There's a screw that goes in there. There's a screw that's there. So I only have 2 screws in there, so it just takes a little bit less time. So I'm going to try not to get anything underneath the monitor. This has a grounding strap. So when you put this back on, you need to make sure that grounding strap is there. And I'll reiterate that. This is where you're going to need your fingers. This guy drops. And I just want to grab this, get it out of there, put your hand underneath and release. And you have the screw. Put that over with the rest. And I think I put a screw on the other side. That one's gone. And there's a screw right here. This is just to make it... I got the bottom one. I don't want the bottom one. So be careful what you're doing. It's up here. Now we got that one. So now when you lift this guy up, you'll have to undo the tape. I've already done that. There's 3 pieces of tape there. There's one on the top. I have no idea why there's one on the top. That was on top of this, but that's fine. You set this thing aside. If it's dusty, go ahead and do that. Here's your motherboard. That's the grounding strap that I just undid. We're going to tuck that away somewhere. So here's your motherboard. Alright, what we have here is, let me use my trusty pointer. There's a lot of dust on these. Okay, there's dust all over this. This is your Wi-Fi with the 2 connectors right there. I'm going to salvage that, probably sell it on eBay or whatever. It could be used on any computer that's got the short base. This is a short one. This is where your RAM goes. The RAM chips are on there. I prefer taking them out before doing anything because they're so sensitive, but the motherboard in general is sensitive. Alright, to reset your BIOS is down here. To reset the password is here. You just put a piece of wire between those 2 connectors right there, or these 2, and it resets the password. Your battery is right here, which is a really small battery. I'll pull this black tape up, and the battery comes right out. So it's a really small battery. I don't even know what it is. Let's take a look. I have ML1220, and that's it. So nothing really holding it in. That's probably why the tape's on there. It sat in there, but it wasn't like a click or anything that held it in there. This is your processor. Okay, so I could tell because there's a bar there. It's the biggest thing there. It has the cooling that runs over to the fan. Now the thing is, this says PCI down here, all around this thing. So now over here it doesn't say a whole lot. So I'm guessing this little guy is sitting on top of the video card, or this guy where the coolant's actually running through on a heatsink, because the heatsink's usually on top of the video card. So my guess, this guy right here is probably the video card underneath this. It is not a plug-in chip. It's actually part of the motherboard, and that's why I keep saying that you can't change the video card out of the motherboard on this model. Alright, so that's the reason why this whole motherboard would have to be replaced. And I'm telling you right now, it's not fun to replace this motherboard. It takes quite a bit. So that's the rundown on this. Now to actually we can reassemble it now, or I'll just take out the take out the motherboard and go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you how to actually take out the motherboard. It does take some time. You have to pay attention to what plugs come off and where they go. You have to pay attention about the screws. Every screw for the motherboard has an arrow on it. There's one there, one on this side, come up and around there. Over here, it has a grounding strap to something. There's one underneath the cooling, so that has to come off first anyway. There's one on that screw. Each of the screws for the heatsink has to come up. All right, and there's one right there in the middle of the motherboard. And there's probably one right there on that side of the motherboard. These two clamps probably have to come off unless these pop right out when we pull it out. So just some ideas for you there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the small screwdriver. I'm going to start here. Let me move the light. I'm going to start here and move my way around. I need to actually remove this fan too. Now I've done, I don't know where I put the other screw at. The small one, that's up there, okay. I've taken this thing apart twice today. It's my second time. I don't know how well you enjoy pulling computers apart so much as far as, flat screens, but what a pain. And all the medication I'm on for my feet. Notice I'm in a wheelchair, if you haven't noticed that. So I'm about 90% contained in. Okay, that's done. And something else is holding this down. And I don't want to bend it. I don't think I'm missing anything. Let me take this tape off. I don't think that anything's under the tape. I think the stuff, the glue that's on this is holding this down. But there is a screw underneath. Right there. I'm going to unscrew that. So I'm lifting up the fan right now to get to that. So this whole thing. Now when you lift this up, you have to be careful because there's connectors that's plugged in. We need to get the connectors off. There's one there. There's a connector here, but I'm hoping to lift this up and pull it out that way. I don't think the screws actually hold. The screws hold the bracket holding the wires on, but I think this guy right here unplugs from that. That's what it looks like. There's the fan is plugged in right here. We're going to unplug that. We have the monitor, the video. This is the video out. So I'm banking now that that's the video. That's a cable for video out. Got to be careful with that. One on each side and move it away. Got another one up here. This is probably for your camera. Which side are we on? Okay, this is the bottom. This is the top. So this is probably your camera right here on top of the computer. So just put your nail underneath and go side by side to get that out. And then pull it. You got to be careful about pulling wires. Just wiggle it back and forth. And I'm having a difficult time getting that out. There we go. You just don't want to damage those connectors. Okay, there's no connectors down there. Way around. This one's out. We're good. Unless there's another screw holding it down. And there is. Right in the middle of all the USB. And it just fell. That's where these, I'll get that later on. But you want to make sure you get that screw. Okay, here we go. Alright, we're going to bring this up. Oh, that came off. That was nice. Look at how dirty that is. Wow, so even if we clean this out, we would have to take this off to get to that. That's crazy. Alright, it does slide out of that. And we have another connector right here. So we have another connector right here. So need to be careful of this and look around the connectors. There's one off there. You got to remember where they go back. So basically just leave them in place. There's another one right here that I didn't see. Alright, so that's up. We need to take off our, do we need to? Let's see. Is that just going, where's that going to? That's a ground wire on that pin. Alright, so there was a ground wire on that screw. We need to remember it. It's down, it's right there. That's the ground wire. So we need to remember that. That's where these fingers come in handy. Alright, so we have another connector that's on the side right here. You can grab one side on each side and work it off. I know I'm in the light, and if I put my hands on this side, you're not going to see it. So, got to do it though. Just work your way on both sides to get it to come off. Every connector is a different one, seems like. So now we do need to pull up the plugs out. You're taking these plugs on top of the Wi-Fi card and just pulling it straight up. You know, they just clip right on. So we'll take those and set them aside. And we have our motherboard out. So guess what? We did not have to take these screws out to get this motherboard out. So the screws on top here, I'm holding this like this because it's a bad motherboard. You need to hold it on the edges, or with a ESD strap on your wrist,